Stephen, it was a little low-key game, I suppose, compared to what it usually is for your side, but a 1-0 victory nonetheless. Give us your thoughts on those 90 minutes.
Well, it was probably a little bit frustrating. We had certainly plenty of the ball. We tried to move the ball as quick as we could. The pitch was a little bit sticky today. I was kind of hoping with the frost overnight it might be kind of greasy and a little bit slick on top, but it wasn't. It was very dry. Inverness made it difficult for us. They defended in numbers. We got people behind the ball, which everybody's entitled to do. So, we tried our best to move the ball as quick as we could, but sometimes we were just taking maybe an extra touch just because the surface and the ball was bulbing about a little bit. Chances, there wasn't an awful lot of chances at either end. The one little bit of quality we had, was the ball over the top. I think it was Robbie played it over the top, and Dylan does what he's been doing for most of the season. I was thinking he hadn't scored for a wee while. He hasn't really had a chance to play for us, over the last few weeks. But certainly, when he gets through 1v1, he shows his quality in finishing. So pleased with the win. It moves us up the table again. But overall performance could be better. We understand that. But I think our shape-wise and discipline defensively was very good. I'm pleased with it. There's so many things now that we've been speaking about for months are now starting to come to fruition. So overall pleased. It's
a bit of an unusual one for your side because not too often you see teams come in under 20s and try and be that compact and try and be disciplined and I don't want to use the term sit in, but do that. So that's something that your team have not come up against before, really.
No, we haven't, and it's maybe it's a little bit kind of testament to us because we were moving the ball reasonably well and we were causing them problems and we were getting in between the lines. Probably then when we did get into the final third, I felt at half time that was the biggest criticism was our final ball or the final thing we'd done with the ball, taking a risk and giving it away in an area when we'd worked so well to get it up there. So it's about learning for young players as well. We probably missed someone like Dom Thomas today to take a man on and be a little bit more creative. Jake found it tough to dribble with the ball and get past his man, and Ross McLean on the other side struggled at times to get beyond their men, probably because there wasn't a lot of space. Sometimes it was two defenders doubling up on them, but then the experience comes to tell you that they have to move the ball onto midfield and try and switch the play a little bit. So, yes, it was difficult at times. They came with a game plan to sit in and make it difficult, but, there's nothing wrong with that. We've done it before ourselves. We played Rangers a few weeks ago and, we weren't open and attacking all the time. Sometimes you got to, win games different ways, and that's what they tried. But, fortunately for us, when our chance came along, we took it.
I don't like to single out boys at this level. It's unfair on them. I'm going to do two, though. One is an unsung hero of you 4 or 5 weeks. I think Barry at the back's been terrific. I thought he was, again, excellent today. You must be delighted with his progress in recent weeks.
I am, because he's, he probably hasn't had a fluent run on the side. He's always been the one that, if a first team player drops down or somebody comes in, Barry's always the one kind of shunted to the side. But that's him played, I think, 6 games now, and he's starting to look more accomplished. His decision making's a lot better. I think at the start of the season, every ball that came up to the centre forward, he tried to win every single ball. He's now starting to read the situation a little bit better. So that comes with playing. Your timing becomes a little bit better. He's taking information on board. He's one of the ones that actually has been doing quite a lot of gym work. I think they all have, but we're starting to see a more notable difference in him. I know it sounds silly, but he's putting on 4 or 5 pounds in weight, and that's what we're trying to do, trying to bulk him up a little bit so he can be more physical and can compete. He's good in the ball, nice and accomplished, as they say. So pleased with him, and I know the second one's Alan Campbell in midfield. Alan's very, very efficient. I said to you before we come on camera that I was a little bit pernickety with him at half time. I think it was twice in the first half he had comfortable possession to give it away. You're at the stage now you're picking out 1 or 2 instances of giving the ball away, then that shows the improvement he's made. But he goes about his game, he wins the ball, he breaks it up. I've told him as a holding midfield player, just go and feed people, get the ball and just keep feeding it on, let the others go and do and take men on and do what they have to do, but be efficient defensively, and when you win the ball, use it well. So certainly I think those two were probably our 2 better players today.
Interesting, Craig Sampson was lined up, unusual for him. Didn't have much to do, admittedly, for Craig, but I suppose one of the benefits of that is both Luke and Barry and the full-backs and the midfielders even get almost a great coaching session on there, because you hear him all through the game and he's balling and giving instructions. So that's I suppose a vital part of this under-20s league and what the benefits it can bring to have someone of that experience come in and play.
Well, it probably made their game easier today, because it's like having someone on your shoulder and talking constantly, telling you when to move. Craig's distribution was very good, feeding the players all the time, always an out ball, always wanting the ball, and always, as a defender there's nothing better knowing you can always pass the ball back to your goalkeeper and he can take the ball and he can start to play for you. So he didn't have an awful lot to do, and pleased in one aspect because he didn't have anything to do, but from his own point of view he probably would have liked a little bit more work to do so he can show the manager what he's doing, and he's working away. But from a young player's point of view, when you have someone of that experience and that ilk behind you, it certainly helps. Craig's been in 2 or 3 times this season for us, and I always feel that. I can always hear him from the touchline, and I always say to young goalkeepers, Brett and to Peter Morrison, listen to him. He's dictating the game, he's telling the players what to do, he sees the game. He's the deepest player on the pitch, yet he's communicating. So, it was a good afternoon for them.
You're now up to 6, or you consolidate yourself in the 6th spot. You're 7 behind St Johnstone and 5th with a game in hand. Is the target, I suppose, we continue to develop the end of the season, continue to try and pick up points, but try and look at the team above you and try and go after them?
Well, I think we've a couple of tricky games coming up with Hamilton, who are in the top 2 probably. I think we have St Johnstone slightly after that, who are in the top 4 or 5. So we've got a couple of testing ones. I think Celtic are coming up again soon too. So we've got a couple of testing games coming up. Not saying that a game like today isn't, but it'll certainly test the resolve. It'll show how far we've improved over the past 4 or 5 weeks. I think results have been decent. Performances in some aspects have been good in certain patches and games, but when you come up against the teams at the top of the table, that's when you show your mettle. That's when we can show our defensive stability. Can we be more creative in the counter attack and things like that? So yes, it's just about trying to accumulate as many points as possible. I haven't worked in under 20 football before, so I wasn't too sure what to expect at the start of the season, but I'm pleasantly pleased at how we're progressing and how we're moving on.
Stephen Milder.
Cheers.